Welcome back to Allison Customs Project Car TV. I'm Jeff Allison, and thank you for watching.
And once I had all that done, I came in, calculated my angle for the spoiler, set it up in my vise, and just put it in my drill press out in my other shop, and drilled into the spoiler as far as I could. All of them penetrated, you see that, and then I tapped them, ran some all thread in there that I'd cut down to about 1.25 inches, and made studs essentially. Then as I got finished up, I ground them off and welded them in. Well, I got it on there, and now I don't like the angle. Let me see if I can take you off the tripod here and show you what I'm talking about. It's shaped right. It's just the angle. Oops, sorry. The angle coming up here is just too steep. I need it to lay back. Gosh. Not a lot, but some. Let me see if I can get a protractor on it. Well, depending on where you measure it, that's measuring from deep in here is about 85 degrees. About like that. Just to roll back about 15 degrees, which is fairly easy to do. All you gotta do is grind that angle. Right now it's ground as close to 90 degrees. The scribed area that goes to the trunk lid is ground as close to 90 degrees as I could get it to here. So all I have to do is grind back on it at about a 15-degree angle. Which means taking maybe probably not even 1/8 of an inch off the back side there. All right. Let's see what we can do with that. So what I'm going to do is, this in the vise over there, just grind back that edge so that there's a little bevel in there. I'll just play with it until I find an angle that I'm happy with. Looking at what I think that's more what I had envisioned there. And it looks like, yeah, about 1/8 of an inch, I think. I'll take that right down. So I'm going to scribe a line on there. Well, you can now. So there it is. Now the angle. Took that 1/8 of an inch off of what would be the back side. Now it lays back a little better. And then getting deep in there, we have about a 64-degree angle. Both places. It looks better. Things out just past the edge of the trunk lid. All right, so I'm going to take you off the. I will take you off the tripod here again and just show you what I'm talking about. There you go. It's just a much better angle. All right, well, we now have a plan to finish it, so I'm gonna go eat some dinner, but basically what's left on this side coming up will be, now that I have one hole located, I can use another magnet or two like this, get things pretty well lined up. Just needs to be somewhere right in there. And then I'll come in from the underside, use those slugs as a guide, and just put a drill mark in every one of the 1, 2, 3, 4, the other 5 bolt holes. Just touch them off, and then my plan is to go get some all thread. I've tapped these for 1032, so I'll go get some all thread, thread it up in there. And before I do that, I'm going to drill a hole above each one of them through the face here. Thread that 1032 in there, and then just plug weld that little hole so that that rod is actually welded into the part of the spoiler. It'll stick down through the hole, and then tighten it up. It's all set. So, but I think that's going to work. And then the last thing will be is to come in, take this 1/8 of an inch to a little more off and put a little rounded edge on there. Make the other side do the same thing and then weld in this V. So it'll take another couple hours, but it's coming real close now. And then and when this is done, it'll be almost completely finished to be basically ready that I can run it off to the powder coater. And there may be a little bit of body work in here, which, and that's the other thing is I got to decide whether I'm going to powder coat it or paint it. But if we need to do a little bit of body work in here, we'll do is take this off, spread some body putty that's high temperature so that we can powder coat it if that's the direction we go. Put this thing on, bolt it down, let it harden, peel it back up, and then just cut off all the excess, because we're talking just a minuscule amount, but that would make it fit the body line perfectly. So anyway, get that done, and I think we're about there. Okay, so I just finished cutting a bunch of these studs that are going to go into the spoilers. These are 832, and I just have a piece of all thread that's about 3 feet long, and I'm just cutting off what I need. And the cut ends are obviously jagged. It's going to be hard to get them to start threading on or put a nut on them. So the little trick I use, I put it in my drill, spin it forward, go up against the grinder. Just got to get it to where you can stabilize a little bit. And just real quick, you have a nice, make sure you can actually see that, nice beveled edge on there, and the threads will start right in. Flip it over, and do it again. Real quick, you can knock all these out, and you have studs that are easy to get started as far as threading. The spoiler, and what I elected to do was 1032s on the end, and then I'd already drilled this one, so I have 3 1032s. The others are going to be, 1024s. The others are going to be 832s, and when I do the other side, just the end ones will be the 10s, and then I'll do the 8s for all the middle. I cut myself one short on the stud, so I'll make one more. Anyway, so see how much of this you can see. Yeah, so you can see when I drilled these, because of the angle I put in there, so now they're, rather than being square to the edge, coming in at an angle. So rather than have to drill through the face to go find them to put a weld on them anyway, now when they're all done here, once I get them set to the right length from underneath, I'll set them all so they're a nice length that's usable. And then I'll just put a weld on them and grind them off flat. Probably use the TIG, that way I can just weld them into the base metal rather than adding, because I really don't need to add any filler metal for any of these. You guys might hear that hissing in the background. It's a pretty windy day. I'm gonna take you guys outside real quick. My wife's father, so my father-in-law, makes fire pits, and he made his first one, and I'll try and flash up a couple of pictures if I can find some. He made his first one for my daughter, and then they kind of set up a business, and he's been selling them. So I'm gonna take you outside real quick and show you, because he's out there cutting one right now. So Ken is his name, Ken Triplett, K&G Welding, and he's 87. He'll be 88 this year. Still making these. See if you guys recognize these. They've been all over the internet. these. And then they paint them. There's one right here that's getting ready to get shipped out. You can barely see it. There's another one back here. We will essentially use that again. He custom makes those. He makes them to order. His most popular, the one he has sold so many of at this point, is the Death Star. He's just recently started doing that out here on my property. He had a shop in town till the beginning of the year, and he decided he was finally ready to retire, but my daughter's still selling those things for him. So I started to say, he makes those fire pits to order, and I think he'd like to retire, but last time he ordered material to make them, he ordered enough to make, with everything you see out there that's already done, plus he's got enough to make 6 more of the large ones. And so he'd like to make that many at least to sell. And I think he's ready to retire. Like I said, he'll be 88 in August, and he's actually never even seen the Star Wars movie. Yet he sells those Death Star fire pits. Like I said, he's probably sold 50 or 60 of them. There you go. It's one side on. I think I mentioned earlier, I'm going to trim that off. Put a curve on there. It's just time to do the other side now. Which, now that I've done one, I've got quite a bit of time in this one piece, but now that I've got this one done, and I have already shaped, so I have already scribed in the bottom of this one. Did that the other day when I was doing the rest. So what I have to do is take that 1/4 or that 1/8 inch off the back, so it'll lay back the right angle.
And then put them all together, we'll fill that in.
Alright, I'm going to get on it, I'm going to scribe that off and get that ground out. With both pieces already mounted now, clamped the middle, welded it up, and then I've gone through and ground it off, came back and radiused I basically put an angle on here of like 55 degrees, I believe it was, and then radiused the edge, and I think it came out really well. So Well, there you have it, guys. Bolted on, done. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. I'm trying to think here. So I had 3 hours in it, roughly yesterday. It's kind of basic. I had an hour in it the first day I messed with it, where I scribed these lines in. And I know all this is in one video, but so an hour that day, a little over 3 hours yesterday, maybe, almost 3.5. But and then today I've got about 4.5, about 4.5 hours in it. And the only reason I'm telling you that is just because I've had different comments at times. People ask me, well, how long does that actually take? So if you take that, that's 7, 8, 9 hours over the course of 3 different times that I've been out here. But it's 9 hours putting the slugs in, putting the bolts in, drilling it, marking it, filling them all, radius in the corners there, the whole bit. So I think it came out really nice, very happy. Decided after talking with the painter, we're going to paint it rather than powder coat it, just because we can fill a lot of this little stuff. He could do a nicer job filling across that bottom there so that we're not pulling the trunk lid itself out of any kind of shape. And yeah, I think it looks very nice. It's got plenty of support there. It's not, it's not flexing the skin, which is important. We don't want that to happen. So anyway, that's done. I got to get that to the body shop and turn it over so those guys can surface off the deck and make it all pretty. So as always, thanks for watching Allison Customs Project Car TV, and I will see you guys. We've got a lot of work to do, just not a lot to put into a video. So as I come up with some projects, I'll let you guys, I'll get them filmed and get them out to you. But we'll get back, in the next couple of weeks, we ought to be back on a pretty regular schedule for at least every other Saturday, if not every Saturday again. So thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.
Thanks for watching Allison Customs Project Car TV. Like us on Facebook and check us out at AllisonCustomsOnline.com.